It's time to catch our breath and catch a flight where the engines don't fail and the plane stays in one piece. There are other miracles waiting to happen in the wild blue yonder, and our next story is one of them. It concerns two strangers traveling to the same destination and the lucky layover that placed them side by side. For Janet Larson, Northwest Flight 1815 was a journey that might mean the difference between life and death. Her sister Deborah had suffered from liver disease for the last 10 years, but now her kidneys were failing.
She was sick all the time. She spent an average of 10 months every year in the hospital. And when she wasn't in the hospital, she was home in bed. She had no quality of life whatsoever. It's a very heart-rending process to go through, to watch someone very close to you fade before your eyes.
Janet was flying to New Orleans to donate one of her own kidneys to buy her sister some time. But ultimately, Deborah would need a new liver to survive. Janet planned on using the flight time to educate herself on the transplant operation ahead of her.
I Xeroxed everything I could find on kidney anatomy and physiology so that I could study it on the plane and just kind of update myself on how the kidney functions so that I could ask intelligent questions of the doctors.
The flight was full. Only one seat remained empty at takeoff time. It was the seat next to Janet. But at the last minute, a man named Alan Van Meter boarded the aircraft to claim it. Like Janet, Alan was also on his way to see a family member. A tragic accident had left his 25-year-old nephew Michael brain dead and on life support. Alan was going to be with his grieving sister.
Michael was alive, but it looked bad. When I boarded the plane, I had pretty well decided I wasn't going to have a conversation with anybody. You know, I was just going to try to work some of this out in my head to get some understanding.
Still, Alan couldn't help notice the pictures and medical charts spread out on Janet's lap.
Are you a doctor?
No. And I told him the story and why I was flying to be with Debbie. And he says, well, I'm going to see my sister too, but for a very different reason.
I said, yeah, I'm going to Paducah, Kentucky because my nephew just accidentally shot himself. And his condition is looking real bad. They don't think he's going to live.
Because of Michael's hopeless condition, Alan had helped convince his sister to donate the young man's organs.
And I said, well, God bless you, sir. I wish there were more people like you because then nobody would have to wait and nobody would have to suffer. And I went back to studying my diagram.
But moments later, Alan made an astonishing suggestion.
I tapped her on the shoulder and I said, how about Michael's liver? We use it for your sister, like that. And she looked at me like I was a nut.
I really appreciate the offer, but I don't think they're going to let us do that. It's a whole lot more complicated. And a couple of minutes later, he tapped me on the shoulder again.
I had a sense of urgency that I needed to push this, and I said, we need to make some calls and find out what we need to do.
After learning that Alan's nephew and Debbie shared the same blood type, Janet got through to Memorial Medical Mid-City campus in New Orleans.
He's brain dead. They've got him on life support. And what we want to know is if we can get his nephew's liver from my sister. Is that possible? And she said, is he the same blood type? And I said, yes, ma'am, I've already checked on that. And she said, yes, you can. Just like that. It was so powerful. And I said, tell me what to do.
This is Alan Van Meter, and my nephew is in there.
The nurse instructed them to call Michael's hospital in Springfield, Missouri, and explain the situation.
Yes. And we want to donate his liver to a Deborah White. And she said, Mr. Van Meter, it's too late. They're already unhooking him. There was a big pause, like she'd set the phone down and left. She come back and she said, no, Mr. Van Meter, it's not too late. I just stopped it. That's how close it was.
While these two perfect strangers worked together to make a miracle happen 30,000 feet in the air, on the ground, phone calls flew between hospitals.
Yes, Dr. Boudreau, you paged me. This is a directed donation.
Dr. Philip Boudreau was Deborah's physician.
Excellent. So I received a phone call from the organ procurement agency in the Missouri area informing us that we had a liver offer for our patient, Deborah White. And of course I was flabbergasted and pleased, but I thought that the probability of this proceeding any further than an interesting phone call was very slim.
With time of the essence, Dr. Boudreau moved into action, sending a transplant surgeon to Springfield while scheduling Deborah's operation in New Orleans. Meanwhile, in the air, Janet placed the most important call of the day to her sister.
I was very emotional at this point, thinking that, oh my God, this could happen. Oh my God, this could happen. Are you awake?
Hey.
Listen carefully, honey. Don't get too excited, but I think I might have found you a liver.
What? I was trying not to be excited. I was trying to just be calm about it because it was an impossibility. I mean, the chances of that, I have a better chance of winning the lottery.
By the time their plane landed in Memphis, Tennessee, Alan and Janet had formed an incredible bond.
Thank you so much.
And they bid each other an emotional goodbye.
And I said, well, everything's going to be fine. You watch and see. And I watched her and everything. Every few steps, she'd turn and wave again. You know, she'd, it was good stuff.
For the two sisters, a joyful reunion and a day of waiting began.
The whole day was pitted with ups and downs and ups and downs and ups and downs.
I called my transplant coordinator and said, okay, tell me I'm crazy. Tell me this is not a go, you know. That's really what I expected to hear. And she confirmed the fact that I am crazy, but that this thing just might work out.
Finally, after hours of waiting, the phone rang. But it wasn't the call they'd been hoping for.
What are we gonna do?
She said, I'm sorry, this isn't going to happen. The last plane has left Missouri, and there is no way that they're going to wait for the organ. So there's no way for us to get this organ to you.
My transplant coordinator said, don't give up. And he goes, I know you better than that. And he said, give me 45 minutes. And that was probably the longest 45 minutes of my life. Hello.
Another phone call brought the incredible news that during that time, the hospital had managed to charter a jet to pick up the liver from Springfield. And 4 hours later, Deborah was being prepped for surgery.
I knew there was no turning back. I knew everything was going to go okay. And I was the happiest person in the world.
At 11:30 p.m., doctors began the delicate transplant operation. It took less than half the time expected and was a complete success. Even more amazing, Deborah was home in just 8 days. But the miracle didn't end there. The liver was such a perfect match that so far, Deborah hasn't needed Janet's kidney.
You know, I'm still in recovery, but getting better every day. You know, I was pretty positive before. I appreciated little things in life. But now, it's so much more intense. Every little moment, every little thing I get excited about, and really glad to be here.
But even in their great joy, Janet and Deborah will never forget the sacrifice made by Michael Gibson.
I mourn Michael's death, but in a way, he lives on. He saved my life. He lives on within me.
This miracle, if you will, happened because someone in their moment of tragedy decided to do something for the greater good.
How about if we use Michael's liver to help your sister?
Oh, you're so sweet.
We feel very strongly that we were given this miracle so that Debbie can use this special story to promote organ donation and to save other people's lives with it.
I think potential donors can hold their head really high because they're the heroes walking around. They're going to save lives. And that's the ultimate gift. It's priceless.